Hey guys! Today I'm going to be sharing with you my Holy Grail scents. These are the fragrances that are, in my opinion, the best of the best in terms of their notes. That's not really a good explanation. I went through my collection and I picked 15. That's too many, I know. I picked the best or my favorite notes and then the best interpretation of that note in each fragrance, or the best fragrance in each of those notes, something like that. You'll understand when I get started. So like I said, I picked 15 different notes, which I get is a lot, but I really enjoy that many notes, like that many favorite notes, I guess. I had a hard time narrowing it down past 15 because there are so many scents that are my favorite. I'm not going to cheat, which I really wanted to, for the note of vanilla. I had so many scents that I thought represented the note really well. And even though I'm going to show you one, I really had others that I wanted to put in here. And I'm not even really going to mention any like runners up or contenders. There's no ties, because that's the point of having like a holy grail, right? So I'm going to start with vanilla, and Shalimar Souffle Intense is my holy grail vanilla. If I could only choose one fragrance to represent vanilla, it would be this one. This fragrance for me was like head over heels, fall in love at first sniff. It's so good. This vanilla is really cozy and warm. There are obviously other notes in this fragrance, but I'm going to try to stick to the vanilla. This vanilla is sweet, a little bit dry, a little bit musky. If you've ever smelled Shalimar, the original, this is not that. Shalimar is very complex, a little dirty, a little smoky. This fragrance to me doesn't really, it's not really that close to Shalimar, in my opinion. I think that it borrows a lot from the original EDP, but to me, this smells much closer to the Souffle de Parfum, but very intense, obviously, dialed way, way up. This vanilla is just so cozy. To me, this reminds me of the holidays because I got this fragrance around the holidays and I tend to wear it mostly around the holidays. And I've gone through over half of it now. Luckily, I have a backup bottle, but I hope I always have this fragrance in my collection. My next Holy Grail note is almond, and I almost chose Girl of Now for this, but I think my Holy Grail almond is actually Le Bouquet de la Mariée from Guerlain. So 2 Guerlain fragrances. There might be more. This smells like candied Jordan almonds. There's also some orange blossom in here and vanilla as well, but the almond note in this fragrance is my favorite version of almond. It's that sweet, powdery, candied almond. And this scent really does make you feel like you're eating those little candied almonds that you get at weddings. I think this is such a great scent. I think I've spoken about this before, about how this is like totally worth the money, because it totally is. And if you ever get a chance to smell it, please do. A little goes a long way with this fragrance. I've actually used quite a bit of this, considering that fact, but it just works. It's great year round. It's perfect for wedding day, if you, or like a special event, if you wanted to save it for something like that. Oh, it smells so special to me. I love this fragrance. It's strong, but it isn't heavy. It's not really overpowering or cloying. I think it's the perfect amount of sweetness. It's really balanced by that like powderiness. And as it dries down, The almond and the vanilla are the longest lasting notes. And I think it just turns into this really warm, welcoming scent. I had to have Girl of Now on this list somewhere. And for Orange Blossom, Girl of Now is 100% my favorite fragrance. This Orange Blossom is so grapey and thick and honeyed. This is my favorite fragrance. If you don't know that, now you know. And I just love everything about this scent. It is so warm and cozy and so... It feels like me in a bottle, but the Orange Blossom in particular is just so well done in this scent. The note of tuberose has become one of my latest obsessions, I would say. I think just recently I've discovered how much I love it. And tuberose is a really interesting note because it can be very animalic, it can be very buttery, it can be very green, and it can be very sweet. And the type of tuberose that I have decided or realized that I love is this sweet, thick, buttery tuberose. And my favorite tuberose fragrance is Petit Fracas from Robert Piquet. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but this fragrance is, it is heaven. It is buttery, it is sweet, it's fruity. The tuberose in this is almost chewy. It's very dense smelling, and the fruit really kind of lightens this fragrance because tuberose can be very thick and heavy. But in this fragrance, it is just light and playful. I think the bottle really does not do this scent justice. To me, this should be in like a white and gold bottle, not black, but oh, this is so good. This is really nice in the summertime, but it also works really well in other seasons just because the tuberose isn't super tropical. It's very, I don't know, it's that butteriness kind of warms it up a little bit. Rose is a note that I have always loved. I love every type of rose. I love fresh green roses, I love dry dusty roses, and I absolutely adore jammy roses. This note, I really struggled narrowing it down to a single fragrance. I'm still even questioning my choice. Not really, but kind of. I chose Roses Berberanza from Lancome. I love this scent. Jammy roses are my favorite. I like them thick and heavy, and this is exactly that. It's a little boozy, very jammy, and the rose is so good in this. The rose is really lush and red and pink, but like dark pink. Oh my God, it smells so good. If you're looking for a jammy rose, this is one of my very high recommendations. It's my personal holy grail, obviously. I think that this fragrance is just, it's complex without being hard to understand. And I think that the quality of this fragrance is also really great. It lasts a really long time and it projects really well. And this is one of those scents, rose is one of those notes I think that people enjoy for the most part and even find comforting. And this to me is right in between that comforting and sexy area. Lily is another note that I think I've always loved. And I have quite a few Lily fragrances, but none of them have come close to the perfection that is Flower by Cynthia Rowley, which was released by Avon. I got a sample of this in a swap years ago, and I wore it a little bit and I didn't really think much of it, but I kept reaching for it last spring, and I finally found a bottle. They're actually, I don't think they're that hard to find, but I finally went and looked for one and found one on eBay for super cheap. That is one of the benefits of Avon fragrances. I don't really think they become investment opportunities for people, but this fragrance is like big, fresh, sweet white lilies and nothing else. It's not the longest lasting fragrance. truly. It doesn't change. It's very linear. But oh my God, if you love leaning into those big lilies and like just getting all the pollen on your nose, this is the scent for you. It's divine. It's so sweet and lush. I like every time I smell it, that's all I can imagine is leaning into those big, just plush lilies. It's just so good. And it's sweet without being like sugary. It's like flower sweet. It's not super flowery either. It's just that like liliness. Do you know what I'm saying? Like lilies can be, you know, in by Zervolet, they're very green and crisp. This is not crisp at all. There's no stem or leaf in here. It is just the middle. So good. This next fragrance I picked up last year and I went through a 30 ml bottle so quickly. Valentino Donna Aqua, so good. The pear in this is incredible. It is like biting into a soft, juicy green pear, and the juice is just running down your chin. It's so good. This also has almond in it, and the almond note is very prominent. I feel like it really rounds out the pear. It doesn't overwhelm the pear. Almond is a note that definitely can overwhelm other notes, so it's nice that this just kind of props the pear up. To me, this is a pear fragrance. Again, this fragrance doesn't last a super long time, and it's very light. This is not the fragrance that will like announce you in the room. Oh my God, it's so good. It's so juicy. If you're looking for a really juicy fragrance, but you don't want anything citrus or green apple or like sharp or tart, this is the perfect fragrance for that. Jasmine in fragrances tends to be a note that I overlook. I don't really focus on jasmine forward fragrances all that much, but in Mugler's Alien Essence Absolute, I adore it. This fragrance is very warm and cozy, but also very sensual and alluring. It's very seductive. I think the jasmine is really why I find it so seductive. This fragrance kind of has a little bit of a root beer vibe when you first spray it on. And I love root beer type fragrances. There's no almond or anything in this, but there's amber and I think vanilla. And those also kind of back up the jasmine a little bit. The jasmine, in my opinion, is very forward in this fragrance. And I think if you like the regular Alien, this is a great winter option for you. I'm a big fan of fruit notes in general. I tend to stay away from citrus notes, but cherry is a note that I adore. Cherry shares a lot of similarities with the almond note, but cherry tends to be obviously juicier, and Amarina cherry from Fragranza is my favorite cherry fragrance. This scent is a dupe for Tom Ford's Lost Cherry, and I have to admit, when I smelled Lost Cherry, I was very disappointed. It did not wow me like I thought it would, but Amarina cherry definitely wowed me. This scent, while I don't find it to be 100% like Lost Cherry, I think it is a better version of it. To me, there's got a little more going on in it, and the cherry is like a dark red cherry. It's sweet, a little powdery, a little boozy. It lasts forever. Lost Cherry didn't last that long on me, but this lasts a super long time. And the cherry is just, oh my God, it's unmistakable. It's the first note you smell. It lasts the entire wear of the fragrance. And it's just, like I said, like that dark red, juicy, delicious cherry. Since we're talking about fruits that I love, let's talk about plum. Plum, I adore. I love plum in every fragrance I've ever smelled it in. And in my opinion, the best plum fragrance is Decadence from marcjacobs. This scent is very polarizing. I believe there's vetiver in here, which might be one of the reasons that some people hate it so much. I love vetiver. Vetiver to me is a wonderful note. This fragrance though, Oh my God. It is just like a dark purple plum and vanilla. I don't get any of that like woodsy vibe that people say they get from this. Although I did spray this on a friend and it smelled like straight up pencil shavings. I was not into it. But on me, it's just plum. And it's almost like a wine type feeling. Like it's very thick. It's got, like if you were to drink this, you would have a very heavy mouthfeel. The plum is incredible in this. Like I said, it's dark purple. This is definitely a nighttime scent. It's so juicy, and the vanilla sweetens it and kind of evens it out, because I think plum can get a little tart or astringent smelling like wine. But in this, it's just sweet and juicy. Blackcurrant is another note that is fruity or can be fruity that I absolutely adore in fragrances. I had so many blackcurrant fragrances to choose from. It was very hard to narrow down, but I narrowed it down to Miss Dior Absolutely Blooming. I love this scent. This scent has so much more going on than blackcurrant, but the blackcurrant in this is heaven. It is so good. This fragrance, I wouldn't call it fruity, but I wouldn't not call it fruity. There's just a lot going on. The fruitiness is definitely more prominent in the beginning of the fragrance, and then it turns very floral. It's a little sweet. I've gotten so many compliments when I wear this. I actually hate telling people what I'm wearing because I want to be the only one wearing this. I think that because this shares some of the DNA of Miss Dior, it smells very recognizable to people, but not quite what they're thinking it might be. The blackcurrant in this is juicy and bright. Yeah, it's very uplifting. This fragrance is super happy. This would be a really great office scent or just daytime scent. Really nice in the spring and fall. For a long time, I struggled with powdery scents, particularly cosmetic powder. And iris is one of those notes that really lends itself to that powdery feeling. But in recent years, I have found my appreciation for iris as a note, and my favorite iris fragrance is from Prada. This is Infusion de Reese Absolu. I love the original Infusion de Reese. It is very crisp and fresh and clean iris, but the Absolu has vanilla and it just feels a little more candied. It's a little bit sweeter. It's got a little something more, and it doesn't smell as clean or like shower fresh, which is really not my favorite type of fragrance anyway. This scent is fairly simple and it's still clean smelling, but it's got that vanilla in there to really kind of make it cozy. And to me, this smells like the perfect mom fragrance. It's just very like huggy. It smells like a hug. I love food fragrances, gourmand fragrances. Anything that smells edible, I'm a huge fan of. And hazelnut is one of my favorite notes in fragrances. I think hazelnut smells very true to, the note of hazelnut smells very true to the actual hazelnut in real life. And I have quite a few hazelnut fragrances, but my favorite is from Lancome. It's La Vie Belle Intense. This smells like La Vie Belle with whipped cream and hazelnut, like warm toasted hazelnuts on top. I love this fragrance. It's very cozy. It's very sweet, and the hazelnut and whipped cream make it very creamy smelling and very nutty. That sounds kind of silly to say, but oh my God, the hazelnut in this is so good. I think hazelnuts smell very nutty in general, but they have a very distinct smell, and I think that La Vie Belle Intense does a very good job representing hazelnut. I love a caramel note in just about every fragrance I've ever smelled. Caramel to me smells very warm and super sweet, and I love warm and super sweet fragrances. My favorite caramel fragrance is from Viktor and Rolf. It's Bon Bon Couture. When I read the notes for the original Bon Bon, I thought it was going to smell the way this smells. This to me is so much more than Bon Bon. Bon Bon to me is very good, but it's just simple. It didn't wow me. This, however, I died when I smelled this. Oh my God, the caramel is incredible. And it's really like amplified by all of the other notes in this. This fragrance is super sweet, very sticky and like gooey and warm. I'm repeating myself, I know, but oh my God, this smells so good. This to me, this fragrance, it projects really well and it lasts a long time. And to me, this smells like a very confident and very flirty person. This person likes to be noticed and likes to smell really edible. My last note is honey, and I love honey for basically the same reasons that I love caramel. It smells very sweet and very warm. Honey has that extra tanginess to it, I guess. Caramel just is straight sweet, where honey has that little extra something. And my favorite honey fragrance is probably no surprise if you've seen any of my other videos. It's Scandal from Jean Paul Gaultier. I adore this fragrance. It is extremely sexy to me. And this is my third bottle, and I have a backup. I have a fourth because I know I will go through this very quickly. Oh, it is just honey at its best. There is orange blossom in here as well, and I think the orange blossom is a really nice base for the honey, but the honey is definitely the star of the show. I get great longevity and great projection from this fragrance, and to me it just smells like sex. It's just, I don't know, it's just very sexy. And it's a very confident fragrance as well, but this warm, sticky, a little animalic vibe from the honey is perfection in my opinion. Whew. 15 fragrances is a lot to talk about at one time. Is anyone else really tired from that? I hope you liked my list of holy grails. I would love to hear in the comments what your holy grail notes are and the fragrances that you would choose to exemplify that note. I don't know if that's the word I want, but that's the word I'm going to use. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video.